everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Wise Guys Barbecue. I'm your host, Vin Picaro, and today we got a special one for you. We're rolling out the red carpet, episode 10. Yes, that's right.
That's a milestone for us.
Double digits, Charlie. Don't lose sight of that. So no fancy segment here. Just my left-hand man, Charlie Baldwin, and I are going to go down the barbecue trail for you and bring back some wonderful things. Last 9 episodes, you met some great co-hosts that we have. Tommy the Butcher, Yasmin Morales. We met with Rich Yang from Barbecue Ninja, and we got more of those coming your way on future podcasts, so stay tuned. It's been great.
It has been. And a little shout out to my cousin, Hacker, possessor of the world's greatest middle name, James Hacker Craig. Little shout out, Hack. We'll get Yasmin back on here for you real soon.
Was he the inventor of the Hackers Refresher?
He was co-inventor of the Bootleggers Tour in southern Pennsylvania, where we go around to kind of like the safari tours that we go to bars and drink till somebody has to come get us. We had to take a little break during COVID, but we're looking to get that started again. Bootleg Tour 3 coming up.
Nice. So grab yourself a cold one, pull up a chair, enjoy your podcast. Hopefully we got some interesting things to tell you and talk about today, this week, / the rest of the days. You want to click, subscribe, and please follow. Click that little bell. It helps a lot. We're growing rapidly in the YouTube world, and we want to continue to do that. So thank you very much, everybody, for supporting us. And please like and subscribe as often as you can. You only have to do it once. Cost you $0. Means the world to us. So please.
Big time.
Yeah. So again, blue shirt, but no Patriots logo. What the frig?
Well, I said you'd get another week out of it sometime this year, and I'm still standing by that. But
they look horrible.
Wow. I in my lifetime of watching this team, even when they were horrible back at Sullivan Stadium years, the offensive line has never looked so inept.
Yeah, it's obviously a problem. I mean, their offensive passing game was non-existent. I mean, I have some stats I charted down over here. It was, I know, right? Think of it. But I got to put glasses on to see it. But what's amazing is, as bad as they were, Aaron Rodgers was amazing. He was. Yeah,
he looked 10 years younger.
Yes.
And he just, there wasn't anything our defense could do that he hasn't seen, which is, the same thing was with Brady. These guys have been around so long. You can do little things adjusting on defense, but nothing these guys haven't seen. And they're so quick in processing the information that they'll find out where your weak spot is, and that's where they'll go with the ball. And you saw Aaron Rodgers do that the whole day.
Yeah. And, I mean, defense did okay. I mean, their defense, obviously their run defense is doing very well. I think they kept them under 3 yards per carry on average, which was for that game and that score pretty remarkable. But they could not shut down that passing game of the Jets, and the score reflected it. I have over here Jacoby Brisket, 12 completions on 18 passes for 98 yards. Before Drake Mayo came in, and the
brisket and mayo, my favorite on a sandwich.
What is it, May? Drake May?
No, it's brisket and mayo from now on till they win.
Okay, 4 for 8 for 22 yards. I mean, come on, you're not going to get it done with just over a little of 100 yards total passing. That's pathetic.
You might get it done against East Providence. You're not getting it done against an NFL team. No.
Reminds me of that. What was that quote by John McKay? We didn't tackle very well, but we made up for it by not blocking.
Yeah, exactly.
That pretty much sums that game up. And and then playing on a Thursday, I don't like that. I have to wait all weekend and hear the ridicule from other people like, oh yeah, one of the Patriots playing this week. So
Thursdays are tough. I mean, especially when you're not a good team and you need that extra time to get ready. So they got a lot of time. This week. till the next game, which unfortunately is at the Niners.
Yeah, so good luck with that.
Who just blew a game this weekend, so they're going to be out for blood.
Yes.
So that might get ugly real fast.
But I'm taking my shirt out, and I am going to iron it because I think I might get a chance to wear it.
Don't lose that confidence.
Yeah,
I
know.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. So,
I'll stick with the Fighting Friars football shirt, and we haven't had football there since '88.
Yeah,
okay. I'd rather go with that than the Patriot shirt.
Providence College Friars football, undefeated since 1988.
Yeah, killing them. Killing them.
Absolutely.
Well, the field hockey team needed that field, so we had to go.
Yep, that's it. See
What
you
a
later.
disgrace.
But don't get me started. So, speaking of college football, I did get a chance to get on the road this weekend with my son's.
Oh, that's right.
Pace University. Right. Yeah, I'm real proud of him. He made the traveling team. I guess they're going to bring all quarterbacks. I don't know. I will find out next week.
You can't have too many guys playing quarterback.
That's it.
Let's face it.
It doesn't matter if they're helping coaching or if they're helping morally. It's good to have him there. And I was just excited he was there. He was like, Dad, don't come. I'm going to be up in the press box. I'm not going to. And I say, it doesn't, I'm not dressing. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. I mean, you go, I go. It's another week out. It's fun. And they won. It was a late field goal, 23 seconds left. They had, they were doing really well. They were moving the ball okay. The other team had a phenomenal kick returner. So ran one back for a touchdown and was just giving them good yardage the whole time. Defense played well. Offense, they sputtered. But what I liked to see was their offensive line looked a lot better, which, yeah, exactly.
It's not rocket science, boys. You have a good old line that can cover up a lot of bad things.
Absolutely. So they looked good. They kicked the field goal late to win by 2, 23-21.
Fantastic.
Pace setters all the way. And that was wonderful because that was at Post University and that was in Waterbury, Connecticut.
Waterbury.
Yeah.
Something interesting in Waterbury from what I remember.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, well, I can get to it now.
Well, get to it.
All right, because I want to show the folks too. We'll have some videos up for you, YouTube watchers and listeners. We were heading back, and on the way in, we saw this wonderful barbecue spot. Nice outside shenanigans going on. It's called the Hindsight Barbecue, and we had a chance to have an early dinner there, me and my bride, and oh my God, fantastic. We sat at the bar. I had was the pastrami brisket Reuben. It was just fantastic on a nice rye. Yeah, and it was great too. The coleslaw with the sauce on it was.
So you went away from the traditional mess that we usually get of the platter with every single meat they can put on it.
Correct.
Cool.
They had more interesting concoctions, if you will, of all barbecue meat. Now, mind you, I'm already in amazement because they have these 1,000-gallon, bullet smokers out in the yard. They had multiple. I didn't even know how many they had. So I'm just like, all right, come on. Are these guys for real? How much barbecue are they doing? Because it looked like nobody was there. And I'm like, all right, I think it was 4 o'clock. They're open till 9. We went in, but we were there maybe 15, 20 minutes. We got our food, line out the door. It was great. So I said,
just beat it in there, huh?
Yep. And with that, we're eating the food, and I'm like, all right, hey, Mom, we got to do a interview here because this is fantastic. So let me ask. I do, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna run out when you're outside. Go check out the smokers. You're gonna run into Mark. Mark is one of our pit masters here. He loves talking barbecue, so he'll hook you up. So sure enough, we ran into Mark Fuller. Thank you, Mark. Hats off for a couple of reasons. One, for the great food that we had there. 2, for showing us around your smokers. We got a nice interview with them, which we'll have up on YouTube later, and we'll put it on this podcast as well. But what was really amazing is Mark's like, hey, so did you have our? I told him I had the pastrami Reuben, and he goes, oh, did you try our pastrami Dino rib, short rib, beef short rib? And I was like,
pastrami short rib.
Right. So they're taking their beef short rib and they're curing it out 10 days.
Gotcha. Just
like they would do any of their pastrami. And it comes out unbelievably pink. And his smoking method was awesome. So tender. So I was like, oh, shit, why didn't I run into you before I got in? And he's like, take one home with you. Take one home. So we did. We bought one to take home. And later on that night we had that. And it's just, you're going to see the picture. It's just amazing, taste amazing. They had this great mustard seed. I don't know. It was like jam or chutney. I got like a mustard seed chutney with some
Looked
soy
fantastic.
sauce. It's just nice, saucy, peppery, but it was all natural. It wasn't like a slather of mustard. It was just, it was really good. So we had a great chance. If you're ever in Waterbury, Connecticut, stop by. You will not be disappointed. I want to say, so my wife had gotten the pork belly tacos and the sweet potato fries. Again, terrific. I had gotten a few bones of the pork rib. Again, wonderful. Everything we ate was terrific, and the line wouldn't stop. So I'm sure they kill it. And now I know why they need all those smokers. So check out the video and check out the restaurant. Stop in, see Mark, and enjoy. You will not be disappointed for sure.
And it's just so funny how that ended up, because when I vacation over that end of Connecticut every summer, and this year I was looking at some barbecue places to go to while I was over there. I only got to one, but what's the name of it? Hindsight?
This is Hindsight, yeah.
Hindsight was on my list because a bunch of people had told me about it and how fantastic it was. And then I didn't get there, and I totally forgot about it. And then, Vin comes back and say, "Oh, I went to this place, Hindsight." I was like, "Wow,
Yeah, you missed. We
got it.
there.
We got it anyway."
Yeah, we gotta. I know you want to make a road trip down to Pace, and you basically drive right by it if you go 84. So we'll have to stop off either there or back. And it's a dangerous time of the day, I got to tell you, because when it's football season and you're football guys like us, you're up early and you're getting your game on, you're getting the day figured out. You're beating the dogs, you're kicking the kids, and you're getting everybody out of your way so you can get into football mode. And then you have that, right? So 1 o'clock, I'm basking in the sun, and it's okay, good, and a good game and a good win. So now we're like, hey, let's stop. And then I had a couple beers, and the beers were going down way too easy, and the food was delicious. I mean, I could have pulled up a big screen and
Sat there the whole night, right?
And that would
Throw
have been
me out.
if I was in Rhode Island, I would have been there another 4 hours for sure. But we gotta try. We gotta give that a try.
Absolutely.
So
That's
thank
great.
you again, Mark, and hope to see you soon, buddy. Keep up the great work. So Charlie, other news. I'm not especially when the news is filled with all these damn criminals. I don't like to keep up with current events, but I do like the sideline stories. And I don't know if you saw it, but there was a great story in Ohio where an 8-year-old girl stole her mom's SUV and took it for a 14-mile.
Just a little ride.
14
joyride.
miles. 14 miles she drove it to a Target. I don't even know what she needed at Target that bad. Was there a sale or something going on? I mean,
I don't know. She took an SUV. How big is this little girl? I mean, every time I read that, I just picture this little kid going down the.
well, that's how. So funny enough, someone saw her driving this truck and reported it. Called the police. Said, I saw obviously a little girl driving an SUV. I'm not drinking. I have not been to Hindsight Barbecue, and someone needs to be on the lookout for this SUV. And they found it. They found it at a Target. So
They didn't catch her driving it. She'd already parked and gone
parked,
inside.
Exactly. Parked and inside Target, walking around, doing some shopping. It was 13 miles to get to this Target, and the police came up on her and asked her. She was like, "Yeah, I drove the car. I took the car."
Yeah, Mom was being a bit of a rag, and I need to get some stuff at Target. So I took the car, Mom's credit card,
Yep.
did a little shopping.
So they asked her if she was okay.
She came out, and all the cops were surrounding the car, and she said, "Can I help you, boys?"
The car was, intact. I think they saw some of the
my
cars, so they asked her, "Was everything okay? Did you hit anything?" She says, "Yeah, I hit a mailbox, but that was it. I didn't hit anything else."
And frankly, the mailbox was, I had the right away.
Yeah, she beeped the horn. You know what I mean? So yeah, these are the news articles that I can truly enjoy. So sorry for your loss of the mailbox in Ohio, but thank you for the story. That's awesome. The other one I caught on, this is, by the way, I grabbed these from the American Press, because you can't make this stuff up. But it's just, this one was the opposite. This was a true downer for me. This is, we are barbecue news. We are in Rhode Island, so we're Rhode Island Barbecue News. And we focus in New England. I love New England. I love our New England competitive barbecue pitmasters. However, that's it. I get affected when I have outside of New England. Is New York's not part of New England, is it?
And I never studied. Okay, that's what I keep hearing from this character. I never studied.
So a man from
Maine,
New York.
let's go over it.
Right.
Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut.
So that's the 6 New England states. So
That's
New
it.
York's not one of them.
Yeah, it's not. They just
right.
missed out.
All right. Well, this bastard, a guy came up from New York, was visiting in Massachusetts, decided to play the triple time bonus Powerball at the store that he visited in Mass, and he won the max prize of $1 million. Now, look, we're heading into a huge recession. Every dollar counts. Do we have to have these New York people?
Yeah, right here, buddy, for taking my Powerball.
Forget it. There goes a cool million that somebody in Massachusetts or other 6 states.
What if he has to pay different taxes because he bought it in Massachusetts?
Yeah, you should have to pay a fuck ton. Oh, excuse my language. A lot more
Right?
than a normal person.
I mean, New York's no prize. New York's no prize either. But
No, but
do you pay the taxes on New York and Massachusetts? Or
it's just wrong. It's just, for me,
you
it's
just get whacked one time and move out of the country.
well, that's the
You
thing.
see, you can't do that anymore.
Whack people.
No. Like, say you whack the Powerball for like $280 million.
Yeah.
You can't like leave the country.
What do you mean?
Like, renounce your citizenship so you don't have to pay taxes.
Oh, no,
The guy
yeah.
that started this is real quick. The guy that started Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg when they were in college, he bankrolled Zuckerberg. It wasn't a lot of money. It was like 30 grand, but he bankrolled Zuckerberg with this idea, and so he ended up with a third of the company, and he was worth like 10 or 12 billion dollars.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and so he said, well, you know what? I'm out of here, and he moved out of the United States, renounced his citizenship, so they couldn't tax him. The IRS invented a new rule because of this. And they called it whatever the guy's name is, they called it the so-and-so rule. Meaning if you start a business or something like that and you whack it and you make billions of dollars, you can't just move out. You have to pay an exit tax to get out of the country and renounce your citizenship.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not gonna say if it's fair or not, but it makes sense. I mean, you made the money here. I think it goes back to where you make the money.
Yep.
I mean, because
They're not
I've
letting
seen
you get out of town
I've heard
without
of,
money.
I've heard of people who have international businesses. So they sell in the U.S., but they might manufacture out of country.
Yep.
So they set up a, company in the area that they're, affiliated with, and they have their vendors supply, buy and sell in and out of that country, and they build a nest egg, and they think that they're going to go, not even take the money, but just go to those countries, live off that money. And even though they made the money in the U.S. and they're U.S. citizens, they still have to pay taxes on the money that's sheltered in those other countries, even if they're using it for expenses in those countries. So you can't do it. I mean, there are some loopholes, but you have to be like less than 25% ownership of the company. And it's, look, pay your taxes, guys. If I ever get lucky enough to make or win stuff like that, I'm taking cash. I'm taking all the taxes out. I'm taking all of the, delayed payments out. I'm just taking cash on the barrelhead. I don't care if it's 25% of the wins, and see you later. If I'm out of there, done. Catch me on the flip.
So now that the IRS knows what we're going to do.
Exactly. But not me, Mr. Officer. But,
No, definitely not. So there's the financial corner.
Yep, that's it. That's your
Barbecue
your brisket business news.
Sure. So I've been somewhat fascinated by, and I don't know why, but by this Korean barbecue. It's been around for, it shot to stardom in, I guess, the early 90s. It became a big thing out in LA and then moved across the country. And it's a little different than American, well, it's a lot different than American barbecue. But some of the concepts are similar. Just like American barbecue, Korean barbecue is designed to be a family or communal event. Just like when you have everybody over and you're smoking your brisket and your ribs and you got a bunch of people around and you're feeding them. Same kind of idea. A lot of camaraderie, a lot of fellowship.
Sure.
And that's how they design their restaurant. So visited Sura in Johnston, and that's on George Waterman Road, I believe.
Yes, yes, it is.
George Waterman Road, and it's an all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue. And what they do is, I mean, they have a couple of different price levels for the quality of meat. But and in a short story, they bring all your meats and vegetables out to you on platters, and there's literally like a flame grill right in the middle of your table, and you can, the meat's all thin sliced, and you take your meat and you cook it yourself on the grill, and it's grilled meat. So I mean, that's what's more barbecue than that.
Yeah.
And then they do some great sauces to go along with it, but you can dip in after. But yeah, it's designed to be a get together. You're not going in there, I would think, with two people, maybe. I know it's not much of a date night for me because I'm just gonna be focusing on the food. But yeah, you go in there with the 10 people and sit around, and everybody, cooks the food and talks, and that's quintessential barbecue right there. It's getting everybody together, having good food, good conversation, and Sura is definitely a great place. If you want to visit them, they're at 300 George Waterman Road in Johnston, Rhode Island, and they're open Sunday through Thursday, 11:30 to 10, and then on Friday and Saturday it's 11:30 to 11 p.m. So go check them out. It's a no-frills operation, but they do it really well. Yeah, and go there and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, for sure. I forget the pricing, how it works exactly, and I haven't been there in a while. But like you said, it's one set price, and you get a couple of different options as far as you want to pay the lower price. You get less combinations of the proteins, or you pay the higher price, you can get a more of a
it's just the cuts of meat they give you.
Yep.
I mean, you can get, if you want to pay a little more money, you can get the thin sliced prime rib or shrimp and stuff like that. And
Sure.
you can upgrade.
They even have, I think, some Wagyu selections on there if you want to go that route.
And one of the other things that, unlike American barbecue where you salt and pepper your brisket for the most part, maybe put a little dry rub on it. They like to marinate in liquids their meat, so it comes out very tender and a lot of flavor to it. So that is a slight difference there.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think the only thing you have to be precautionary on is they do limit the amount of time you spend in there, and don't forget you're cooking your food. So
I think Sure is like 2 hours.
Yes, and my wife is just like the ultimate pit master with it. So she's over there and she doesn't stop. The food's going on and off as fast as possible. Yeah. Everybody's eating. If you're not eating, she's making sure you're getting more. Yeah. That's what you need. You need someone doing that.
You need a cruise director, and she's it.
If you're going to be 8 people, do that for sure. Yeah, we're going to try that. I mean, maybe we should do like a little review over there. That'd be great.
Sure, I'm sure we can.
Cool. All right, folks. You know what time it is. One of my favorite times we have today from Paul's Wines on Mendon Road. Brunello di Montalcino. This is a wonderful Sauvignon blend of wines made in Montesino, Tuscany.
Toscana.
Italy. Yes, your favorite. Huge potential for this elegant and powerful Brunello, deep red with garnet.
It's like red.
Nuances. The nose reveals a complexity with aromas of plum, ripe cherry, and small red fruits. This is up there. This is actually a 2015. It priced out really well. This is one of my better investments. Bought it for half price, so we're doing well. This has got ratings between 93 and 94 on different international wine rankers. So enjoy this. Cheers. Good luck. Happy red wine. Here's to you, Fredo. Thank you for a wonderful lunch. Oh, yeah. See, that doesn't disappoint. And this is what you need for a nice, a steak dinner, a nice heavy, beefy meal. This thing.
That's really good.
It doesn't pale at all. And it doesn't bite either. It finishes dry. Yeah. It finishes dry for sure.
Delicious.
thank you for entertaining me with that.
All right. Well, so we're back at Wise Guys Barbecue Podcast. We just need to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. Great Northern Barbecue Company over on the west side of Providence. If you are looking for good local barbecue that holds up against anything that we had down south, check out the Great Northern Barbecue Company. They have a great setup. They have outdoor seating while it's still relatively mild, and you can get a good look at all their cook equipment and where all the magic happens. And then the inside is kind of interesting. The inside is kind of a little bistro type, kind of dark, trendy, but it's all in a motif from Twin Peaks, that TV show from the 80s, which was extremely popular. There's lots of little memorabilia and paraphernalia lying around to talk about in there. So go see Great Northern Barbecue Company on the west side of Providence.
Yeah, they're doing really well. I had a buddy of mine, now that we've done 10 of these episodes, like people think they can ping me up out of nowhere and say, I'm going for barbecue. Where do I go? Like all of a sudden we wrote the gospel of barbecue in Rhode Island, but it was cute. I don't mind answering those questions. And Northern Barbecue really, what is it?
Great Northern Barbecue Company.
Thank you. They knock it out of the park. They do a great job. They're smoking right on premise, all night, all day long. Sean, I'm pretty sure the cook there is Sean, and he's well known in the Rhode Island barbecue scene. He'll treat you right for sure.
Our other sponsor we want to give a shout out to this week is the Fight Factory, which is on 3 Bridle Avenue in West Warwick, Rhode Island. It's a great setup. It's up on the 3rd floor, I believe, of this mill in West Warwick, and there's great stuff. If you're looking to get your kids involved, they have great kids classes Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday morning, and some fantastic trainers there. They have trainers that are professionals, meaning they train professional fighters, and then they have a bunch of great guys that work with the kids. My son, you can see him on on YouTube or whatever, training the kids. Zach, the kids love it. And it's not one of those things where they force kids into the ring and fighting with either like it's a cockfight or something like that. If the kids don't go in the ring, they don't go in the ring, but they get a great workout, great training, and they teach them dedication and work ethic too, which is what I like about it. So if you're looking to get involved, if you want to fight, if you want to just get in great shape, go see the fellas at Fight Factory in West Warwick, Rhode Island. You can't go wrong. Yeah,
I saw some of the YouTube videos of your son, and what I find completely amazing, and I tell this in conjunction with my boy growing up in the younger years, right? So I'm talking 8 to 14. And my son was a basketball player, and he played on a lot of different teams, and it seemed like he was constantly in the gym, working out, running, and I was worried about his knees, his growth plates, doing that work. And what I find really interesting about the Fight Factory is these kids go into the rings, they work with a coach, and they'll go through a sparring session, if you will, of they're punching on ear, they're shadow boxing, they're punching into gloves of the coach, but they are working out so fiercely. They're getting this unbelievable workout, like in 3 minutes, right? It's not 30 minutes running around in a circle or doing, these endurance kind of things. So they're doing, low impact, if you will, because they're in a ring, and they're doing intense workout. So they're getting the best kind of workout they can get without, injuring or wearing down bones and ligaments at the tender years of 8 to 14. So that's what I really like about that.
You're absolutely correct, because it's all about flexibility.
Yes.
And endurance. And listen, if you think you're in shape, get into the ring for 3 minutes and box. Okay.
For sure.
You will be sucking wind. All right. The thing I learned over the years is just how, you watch these fights on TV, you start to understand how much training these guys put in just in their cardio. Yep. To be able to go, 10, 12 rounds is, until you do it, you really have no concept of how hard it is.
They're working the 2 major issues, right? Cardio and core strengths. Yep. That's what they're building nonstop. And that's what these kids need. I mean, it's, sure, it's great to lift weights, squat. If my other child was a football player, played football all the time. Part of football is having those explosive muscles with squats and deadlifts. And, those things are great too. They do work some core muscles, but they're also adding a lot of stress to joints and ligaments, especially at those tender years where if you don't have to do it, don't do it. And I love that whole boxing motif because the kids are learning that quick action muscle reflex. It's so
and it's
huge.
fun. They like doing it. They like hitting things. So you go hit the heavy bag, you hit the speed bag,
hit coach's gloves.
Yeah, hit coach's gloves. They love it, man.
Yeah.
And so even if you just want to go and you check it out, there's no commitment unless you want to sign up. You can sign up for individual lessons. You can take the group class. It's just, listen, the Wednesday nights they're just electric. Okay, everybody's there. You got the kids working out. You got a couple of the pros that train there coming through. Peter Manfredo was there. I think everybody remembers Peter Manfredo from the Contender series back in the day from Rhode Island. He comes in there and trains every now and then. It's a very well-run operation with solid professional guys doing their thing. So if you're looking for that type of thing, go for it, man. And here's the other thing. Everybody in there is looking to help you out. Sometimes you go to gyms and it's very intimidating, especially boxing gyms, because, you're looked at as an outsider. You haven't gone through the hierarchy of who's the king of the ring and all this other nonsense.
Right.
You don't get that at Fight Factory. You are welcome with open arms. Everybody will try to help you out. There's no big timing. There's no looking down on anybody because they just started. It's none of that stuff. And it's a great family environment. The guy that owns it, Franco, is a family man, and he's got his kids in there. And go and check it out if you're looking get your kid. Maybe a kid's not doing great in team sports. Maybe that's not his thing. Sometimes you just let him go do something individual where he sees the work that he puts in directly affects how good he is. As opposed to sometimes team sports, you might work hard, but nobody else cares, and your team stinks. That can be a little frustrating, but give Fight Factory a try.
Great. Thank you for that. So I'm enjoying this wine, and I hope I don't enjoy it too much.
Well, we had a little pregame.
Yeah, we did. I mean, Fredo went out of the box today, guys. Well, you know what? I think he got a little pissed off.
His teeth.
Well, that was just it. We kind of not that we had to give him the riot act, but that's kind of what we did because he was on vacation, which I don't think he filled out any paperwork for that vacation. So that was
I didn't know he was going to. He told me.
Yeah, they thus not filling out the paperwork.
Yep.
But it's aggravating because I'm trying to. We're trying to fill patterns here, right? We want to give our audience something to look forward to and understand in what we're doing here because sometimes we lose focus. But in that process, you rely on people like Fredo, and Fredo dropped the ball a few times, and some of it got a little out of the way. And this week, which you'll hear about in a minute when we get to our Wise Guys Are Whacked episode, it was kind of more of the same, and I was upset. So I did, we had a come to Jesus meeting, and I told him, look, you just you figure this out, right? You either you're in, you're out, because there's other people that want to work in this industry. He's family. We want him here, but at the same time, come on, Fredo, get it together. So I think that's why he took us out to lunch. So we went to lunch. We had a nice lunch. No barbecue, unfortunately. We couldn't get ahead of it on a Monday like today. You guys are going to see this on Friday, but it's Monday. So we went out, but we did have a nice lunch, and
a good time was had by all.
Yeah,
and I have to give them that.
And I, thank God you steered me away from a fourth drink. Otherwise, I would have been under the table. Yeah, I would have been under the table. But this wine is great, and I don't think wine gets me drunk. But this does. So it reminded me of something I saw in the on the internet. It was kind of cool. It was part of the Providence Parks, advertisement they do about what's happening in the city, and they have this episode that they offer on Federal Hill. It's called Crime and Cuisine Food on Federal Hill, and I'm showing the YouTube channel now behind me just to give you a little flavor of what it is, and I think it's cool. I don't know how. I mean, other than it being 100% true and accurate,
I don't know how we didn't think of that.
Well, I'm glad. No, I know why I didn't think of it because I wouldn't have gone there. But how this didn't get squashed before it gets started.
Well, it's just the passage of time. It's just
it's true. It's true.
That's all it is. It's just it's so far in the past for a lot of people.
So this is a fantastic event. Basically, what it is you join a group, you buy your tickets, you get a pass. I forget exact details. I'll have the information on the YouTube video behind me, but you basically go, you get in a group of people, you walk down Federal Hill, which folks who are not local, it's one of the oldest neighborhoods, Italian neighborhoods in Rhode Island, and it's going through its cultural changes like every other part of Rhode Island, Providence too, and but still, it is the Italian neck of the woods, and there are still some really awesome restaurants up there that you can check out. I mean, places like Angelo's
Savita Farnese. Angelo's Savita Farnese. Great food.
Great, 100% authentic food, cooked daily, and it's cooked in this cafeteria-style atmosphere. So you just go in there to get your grub on, and you will not be disappointed. It's delicious. Camille's, I mean, how could you miss Camille's? It's just the opposite, polar opposite. If you want to go in, sit in a nice lounge atmosphere, have a couple of those $30 cocktails, and then eat some real good veal saltimbocca or any of their pasta. A lot of it's homemade there. Terrific. Casarino's, Caserta's Pizzeria. I mean, don't get me started.
Joe Marzilli's.
Oh, come on. I mean, there's a place where, I mean, that is Rhode Island. I mean, you go in there and the walls are painted pink, and I think it's not. I think it's actually white.
Listen, all you got to know about Joe Marzilli's is when Sinatra came to town to do a show, he went to Joe Marzilli's. Okay, so that's about all I got to say about that.
Yeah. So you go down, you visit 4 establishments that they line up for you. You have different courses at each restaurant, right? So you have an appetizer, you have a pasta, you'll have an entree, you'll have a dessert. You get to take a dessert home, I think. So go there hungry. This is not a tourist trap, right? This is real food, real good. You're going to leave full. If I can say that, it's true. So
no
try
offense.
it. No offense. And in the interim, they give you true life history about Rhode Island and the people. I don't want to say characters, and the people that shaped it. So they have some interesting stories about the past mayor, Vincent Buddy CNC, who's a alumni of ours who's passed now, and Joe Malacone and Raymond Petriaca. I mean, these are real life stories, real life landmarks there that they tie these stories into what you're seeing and what you're visiting and what you're eating, basically, in the area. So it looks fun. It makes sense. I didn't, I actually, it was one of those stories where you think about it before you know about it. Like I was like, wouldn't it be amazing if, so I just happened to go on YouTube and I'm like, holy crap, this is a thing,
It's real.
In Rhode Island. So check it out. Enjoy the video. Let me know what you think. If you get a chance, if you've done this or you want to do this, or please let us know. Send us an email. Let Fredo know. We know a guy. We can hook it up for sure. But we'd rather hear that you've done it and what you thought about it.
Get your 2 cents on the subject. We'd love to hear that.
Why not?
First-hand account.
Absolutely.
I think I want to do that now that you've...
Now that you know it was real, you got nervous.
Like I thought you were pulling my leg there for a minute. But
you thought I was just going to talk about wise guys.
And I didn't want anything to do. Hey, I don't want to talk about the boys.
Forget about it. Yeah. But no, this is real. And,
I think I smell a rat.
No. This is true to life, guys. Believe me, Fredo would not steer me wrong. So please give it a try for sure. Hey Chip, did you hear about the next big Rhode Island fundraiser barbecue competition? It's a Baby Macs BBQ challenge out in West Greenwich.
Yeah, that's at the Woods Tavern.
Exactly.
Down there, and I've heard this is a great event.
Yeah, so I was clued in by some of the cooks from Miller's Crossing and Captain Nate Slynn, wonderful man that he is, and the great work he does over there at Friends of Jake. But this puppy is the next big Rhode Island one. It's put on by A Wish Come True Incorporated. So all the monies and proceeds for that cook go to that organization and all that it supports. And it's great because talking, I mean, it was 14 or 17 different competitive cooks at Miller's Crossing. And in the conversations I had with him, a lot of them, I was like, so how many of these you do a year? 4 or 5? And he go, oh no, I only do this one or I do 2. And the other one was this one here for A Wish Come True. So,
Yeah, Woods Tavern is it's a great place on its own. A great place to go and have a drink and some excellent food.
yep.
So this should be a headlining event. They're gonna have live music. Judging starts at 2, and the buffet is at 4:30. And you can get tickets at the door. They're $25, and I'm sure it's well worth it. It's a good cause.
Yep.
And we will be there to check it out.
And this definitely is for the competitors. It's a qualifier for the Ken Drake Cup. So they're in tune to win. These guys want to win this. There's 4 categories. There's an ancillary appetizer. I told you with the wine.
Ancillary. What's the Chestershire?
Chicken category, ribs, and pulled pork. So it's interesting. I think I might be there. I got to check on the timing for me, but I'd love to be there. I'd love to meet my favorite people in the world, the competitors. I love hanging out with them, and I love hearing their stories about the cook for that event and other events since the last time I saw them. So I'm looking forward to it. If you guys get a chance, please get down there and support.
I will definitely get down there, and I'm gonna check in with them and see if they need any judges. Maybe if they need people, maybe I'll step in and judge.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love that.
I had a great time at Miller's. I'm sure this will be the same.
Yeah, except for those chicken thighs. Still giving you nightmares.
Don't do it.
Yep. All right, folks. Next up is our Wise Guys Are Whacked competition. If you know, you know. If you don't know, forget about it. I'm going to tell you again. This is basically we go out to our listening audience and we say, please send us a great story about you barbecuing anywhere. It could be a competition, it could be a backyard, it could be, I guess, in your oven in your house, right? They have those electric smokers for the countertops, whatever. But it basically can be a story about a successful cook that you had or not so successful. And based on the story, we get to judge if you're a wise guy, therefore successful, or if you get whacked. I don't have to explain that. Regardless, the fact that Fredo picked your letter, you get gifts from our sponsors. So we have a list online. We can show you. You can pick what you want. We get it out to you in the mail, or if you want to come down and pick it up and even get on mic, welcome to do that too. So Charlie, what do you got over there?
By the way, I have a few gifts to add to the prize collection for our winners, and I will bring them next week, and we'll put them out front here. And just a few small gifts, but they're nice.
Oh, I never thought of that. It's a good idea. We should put them on camera.
Yeah, I'll put them right out there. Just a couple of nice.
Oh, good. I'll
things.
do the same thing with. I know All Temps doesn't really have any merchandise to give. They give kind of like gift certificates and stuff.
Yeah.
But Spidell for sure has some nice stuff back over here, so we should put them out, and that's a great idea because
we'll do that.
Good.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Who's this from?
I can't tell you.
Oh, you can't. All right, so I'm reading this blind. I don't know who it's from.
Well, I'm going to tell everybody. I can tell you at the end.
Tell me at the end. Okay.
I don't want to belittle.
You don't want me to know because you'll feel I'll read it differently if I know who this person is.
Correct.
That's okay. All right. So the title of our Made Guy or Whacked email of the week is the brisket power play. Sounds interesting already. So this comes to us. It was the day before my family barbecue, and I had the main course, a 12-pound brisket. That's a hunk of meat.
It is.
I had it lined up for a 16-hour smoke on my brand new Yoder pellet grill.
Oh, I have one of those.
You do. The Yoder had only been in my arsenal. I love that term. It had only been in my arsenal for a week, but I was confident it would deliver a legendary cook. The only hitch? I hadn't gotten around to installing the proper electrical hookup to keep it running.
Yeah, because you know how that works, right? And I know because I have. So basically, there's a fan and an auger. The auger drops the pellets in the burn box. The fan blows air over it. So that's it. That's all that's producing.
The auger is the spinny thing.
Yeah, spins the pellets, drops them in the box. The box is on fire. The fan's blowing air over the fire to increase or decrease the temperature, and that's what runs it.
Gotcha. I've shown all these fancy words like my educated friend to my right.
I just know what
you educated guy, you barbecue genius. Okay, so he forgot to install.
I said it.
You did it. Gimme.
There you go.
The only hitch, I hadn't gotten around to installing the proper electrical hookup to keep it running. And obviously, we're talking about the thing that powers the auger and the fan.
Yep.
I wasn't about to let a little lack of power ruin my plans. With no time for a proper fix, I took matters into my own hands. Okay, I'm dying to see where this goes. I rigged the Yoda to run off my backyard porch light, a temporary solution. But one I figured out would get me through the night. With the brisket low and slow, I hit the sack, feeling like I had everything under control. But fate and my wife, those things tend to go hand in hand. Fate and the wife had other plans. At some point during the night, she decided, for the very first time in her life, to become electrically conservative. The very same woman who leaves lights on all over the house decided that this was the perfect time to flip the switch and shut off the backyard porch light, which means shut off the grill. The Yoda, dead. The brisket, cold.
I wanted to kill her.
I woke up to find 8 hours of cook time down the drain, my brisket sitting there in silence, naked, exposed. Instead of that glorious low hum of the pellet grill that I'm used to hearing, there was silence. I was livid. The family barbecue that was supposed to showcase my new smoker's prowess was now at risk of becoming a total disaster. I'm sure someone is getting whacked here, but here's the real question. Who gets whacked? Me for rigging a plug to a porch light like a madman in the first place, or my wife for deciding to start her new conservation campaign in the middle of my brisket cook? You decide who deserves the whacking. Well, I'm, in my personal opinion, because I'm, utterly terrified of your wife, I'm going to whack you. So I'm going to whack you for plugging into a light.
So obviously you knew that was for me.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and
figured it out.
And this is a true story that I wrote in trying to save Fredo's hide this week for not doing his job again. But this is a true story. I did not have an outdoor electrical outlet that was required. I had one of those little, you screw it into the light socket and then put the light bulb behind it. And maybe I should have left the light bulb out. I don't know, but I plugged into that. I mean, you would think you'd see wires hanging from the porch light. Kind of gives you the indication that it's doing more than lighting the backyard.
What's that?
Yeah. So, okay.
This reminds me of the father in the Christmas story with the tree. He's got the outlet with everything in the house plugged into it and lights the tree on fire. Yes. I don't know why that came to my mind, but it did.
Well, anyways, we didn't have brisket that day. I had to save the brisket for a cook for the next day, and I went and got a bunch of burgers and steaks and threw them on.
Let's dig a little deeper into this story.
What? I mean, it's simple.
I want to know the very moment you realized what had happened.
Then the next morning, because all right, so I wake up. So this is my first cook. Well, not my first cook, but my first cook for a cookout. And I don't have the probes, right? It's an older unit, didn't have the probes like it has now built in. I didn't have any secondary probes. I used to just probe it manually when I probed it. So I have no clue what's going on inside the oven or inside the meat while I'm going to sleep. When I went to sleep, the smoker's out underneath my bedroom window. So you can see the smoke, you can smell the smoke. So I smell smoke, I know it's cooking, I'm good. I'm going to bed. I had timed it perfectly that it was going to cook at least till about 2-3 o'clock the next afternoon. So I had no worries other than it being lit. to do I flip it? Do I wrap it? I didn't have to worry about any of that then. Plus, I didn't even know what that shit was back then. But regardless, I went to bed. And, the dogs...
Forgot to say, hey, honey, don't shut the outdoor light off because it's going to shut my grill down.
So the dogs had to go out one more time. The dogs go out and the light's on. And she's like, I'll shut the light. Why? Like I said, that light stayed on plenty of times in the past. The other light stayed on in this house plenty of times in the past. But down goes the light, down goes the grill, down goes the smoke. I don't know. I wake up the next morning. I'm looking outside and going, I don't see any smoke. I don't smell. You don't think. I know I didn't run out of pellets. I know I did all that. And I can't see the light anymore because it's daylight, right? 7 o'clock, it's daylight. I can't see if the light's on or off anymore. So I run downstairs. I remember. So in a movie like Jaws or any scary movie, when you get to that pinnacle moment, that everything kind of zooms in on. That's exactly what that switch did across my kitchen. Off. No, why are you off? I'm swearing. I'm a klutz, so my wife's thinking I kicked my foot. Or she's like, what? You shut the grill off. What do you mean I shut the grill off? I didn't touch the grill. Why do you think it's plugged into the porch light you shut off?
And I didn't save you because I'm sure you got this. Who in their right mind would plug it into a light?
And, the racial slurs started in reverse on me. Like, I did something wrong. So anyways, no brisket for the cookout. The brisket wasn't wasted. Of course, it was cold. Of course, it had to get reignited and get recooked, and I lost 8 hours in the cook. So my 2 o'clock serve time, which would have been like a noon pull time, ended up being pulled at like 6, not servable till 8. And I just kept it going. I didn't know what kind of party we were going to end up having. But of course, I had to feed the folks at 2 o'clock. So what did I do? Ran out to Dave's Market, picked up some more meat, and we grilled. We didn't smoke that day. No Yoda
And no one
smoking.
knew. No one knew the difference.
No, everybody who knows me, I kind of brag a little bit. I can't shut up. Yeah, I like podcasts and telling people stupid stuff. So anyways, for sure. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, I heard brisket. How do you do that? It's smoker. Show me a new
you
smoker.
told everybody
So-
what we were having, huh? You told everybody what was on the menu?
Yeah. I'm going to get, so.
Finn, what's with the hot dogs?
Right. Are these brisket hot dogs? No, they're not brisket.
Hey, I don't
hot
see
dogs.
Sue around here anywhere.
So you
she
whacked
coming out?
So you whacked me, did you, you bastard? Okay, well, now, never
Well,
again.
just so this is a lesson, okay? You can do everything right,
And so,
still get whacked.
well, that's why I threw fate in there, right? Because obviously there are a lot
That's a
of things.
great tale,
Sometimes we talk about our barbecue safaris, how fateful they are in the positive, but
Yep.
this for sure was not a positive situation of fate. This was my destiny. And it's funny because my wife and I, when we do have people over and we prepare things, we second guess each other nonstop. So usually, like, it's one up. Everybody's one up over in precautionary values of everything we need. Should we have? Can we have? Where they're going to park? All kinds of stuff like that. But no, that deck light had to go off, and my brisket didn't make it. So
Amazing.
thank you.
It's the best one so far.
I'm
hands
not
down.
gonna need one of your gifts this week. Fredo, that's it. You're on the hook. You're on your own now going forward.
Next
I'm smart.
week, man.
I can handle things. Can do
So I
things.
dropped the gun when they were shooting pop. Off to Vegas. All right, well, that wraps up another fantastic podcast here on Wise Guys. Great finishing story from Vin. I thought that was the best one we've had so far. That was awesome. And especially if you know Sue and this guy, I mean, it's
You relish in my pain.
well, just because you two guys are my favorite sitcom, hands down. You always keep me amused, and I love you guys to
Good. I'm
death.
glad. I amuse you how? Like a clown?
Yeah, like some like a clown. You know, you're here to amuse me. Very
That's
good.
it.
You do a fantastic job.
Thank you. I'm glad.
So take care, everybody. We did a great job with the wine. I'm going to have a little bit more of this while Vin says a couple words.
Yeah, so next week we continue our guest appearances. We have Andy Texera from the executive chef of Newport Vineyards. He'll be down here talking about some wonderful barbecue. He has a special dinner that he does there this year. He got rained out in July. I'm not sure if he's going to pull it off in the fall. We can get the news on that. Newport Vineyards also has their own winery and beer distillery there. So there's a lot of good things over there. But his vast knowledge comes from cooking farm to table. If you ever have a chance to have dinner out there, you're going to have an exceptional dinner with all local grown foods, either right on premise, or 100 feet of where you're sitting, or local to North Kingstown and Newport area. So he's great. I met him earlier this summer. He had me amazed with the amount of people he knows in the barbecue industry, between restaurants and competitors and suppliers and farms. It was a whirlwind. So I'm excited to introduce you folks to him next week. So please tune in for that.
We better be on our toes with this guy.
Well, I'm just going to let him know.
So he doesn't think we're a couple of bumpkins.
Well, you know what? I already cracked that bubble. I already did that.
Did you?
Yeah, when I had him down there, he, like I said, this was back in early July, late June actually, and we just had the podcast and the blog site for like 2 months. And I was telling him how I'm learning so much and I'm meeting so many wonderful people. And, he had people all the way back to Puerto Rico. He's basically kind of blueprinting my Puerto Rico safari for us, barbecue safari. So he knows so many people, and he's a 4th generation home-taught cook who specializes in game, farm to table, and barbecue. He had does still have his own barbecue trailer. He doesn't do any competitions, but he loves doing causes, right? So fundraisers and things like that he gets involved with. So I'm dying to hear from him, and I'm not worried. I mean, he's such a nice guy. I'm not worried at all about how he's going to figure out.
He'll be fine. I'm just going to try to keep my mouth shut so I don't make an
No,
ass out of
you'll
myself.
love him. In this small room, you have to love people. I guess.
Hey, it's my show, and he'll have to get along.
So looking forward to that, Andy. Thank you for doing that for us. We'll see you next week. Folks, thanks very much. Like and subscribe to the podcast. It helps us out. Enjoy our shorts. We've been putting a lot of efforts into that. We got Charlie's Barbecue Playbook, and we got Tommy's Butcher's Corner, who's given us great advice and great entertainment on that. So please spread the word there.